What's going on, everyone? So the Charlotte Hornets have officially waived the greatest player of all time in Kai Jones. According to Shams, the Charlotte Hornets have waived former first-round pick Kai Jones. In all seriousness, though, I really do hope that he can kind of get himself right. I don't want to speculate what's going on with him because we don't know, but he seems a little off right now, right? And I hope that whatever he decides to do, whatever organization or team does bring him on, because he is still very young, very talented. I do hope that they take the time to kind of get him in the proper place, in the proper mindset. I talked about Kai Jones the other day. I said, the Lakers should definitely not trade for Kai Jones, stay as far away from a trade of Kai Jones as possible because you don't want to give up assets to go get him. But I did say if he was waived, that I wouldn't mind the idea of bringing him on as a project player and for the foreseeable future, right? Now, I don't think I'd bring him on to the actual roster. Maybe you can sign him to a G League deal or kind of, work with him and kind of use him as like a stash type player in some capacity and maybe bring him on in that way and then slowly kind of mold him into maybe potentially being a piece for the Lakers in the future, right? Kai Jones is 22 years old. He's hyper athletic. He's got good tools, good intangibles. He's a guy that could potentially be a solid NBA player in this league at some point. Obviously, there's going to be some obstacles, but I also think there's a lot that goes into just structure and organization and culture, things like that. I think like a place like the Lakers or even like the Miami Heat, I think he would do him a lot of good, right? And sometimes it's also just change of scenery, right? I mean, being in a place like Charlotte, nothing against Charlotte, but some people aren't necessarily built for something like that. And then to go to an organization like the Heat or like the Lakers or some of these, cultural organizations that have the structure and have the resources and have everything necessary to really help these young players and build these young players, that could be very beneficial. Now, obviously, right now we have, several project guys. We have Jackson Hayes, who has looked really good for the Lakers so far. It's only been 2 preseason games at this time, but still, he's looked like a piece that's going to have an impact for the Lakers this season, and he's 23 years old. So he has a long way to go, a lot of upside, a lot of potential with him. Problem is that if he has a great season this year, chances are he's going to go get a contract elsewhere and we're going to lose him. Now, we do have Colin Castleton, it looks like he has the potential to be really nice. I've compared him to a young Marc Gasol. His ability to play in the post, hit the occasional outside shot, make some plays from the post. I really like what we're seeing with him. Now, if he ever becomes anything close to like a prime Marc Gasol, then that's a home run for the Lakers. But I do see him as, again, another kind of project that's very raw, that needs some work, that needs some building. Now, if you could get a guy like Kai Jones, you could add him to that pool of young talent, kind of spend the next year or two kind of getting him right, getting him, more structured, and then maybe integrate him into the roster, and he could be a Jackson Hayes kind of insurance, right? Now, obviously, I'd love to keep Jackson Hayes, and look, if it doesn't work out with Kai, it doesn't work out with Kai, but I just think with the idea of it's just so low risk, high reward that, why not go and look to bring him on in some capacity and kind of just have him just kind of grow within the culture and the system. I think that that's something at least worth a look, at least worth a conversation. Now, there are so many question marks with him right now of what exactly is going on. And whether it's him doing it independently or it's one of these organizations, are going to have to figure out, what is the issue? Is it a mental health issue? Is it just an ego issue? Is it just, a situational issue? Where, again, he's in Charlotte and, he just isn't built for that. He just doesn't like, the location, and he doesn't like the organization, and he's just in a weird place, right? I mean, that needs to be discovered. Again, I don't want to speculate what's wrong with him, but there's clearly something going on, right? It's 22-year-old who was projected to be a real key piece for the future of the Charlotte Hornets. They're not just going to waive, and you're seeing all the antics, you're seeing all the stuff, right? there's something there, whatever it is. And whatever organization is willing to kind of give him a chance, whether it's this year or next year or whatever. I'm not saying the Lakers have to go rush to get him right now. I'm not saying go sign him right this second, right? Like, you can let him get right, or maybe even like reach out to him and just say, hey, because he is a free agent now, right? Reach out to him and be like, hey, if you go and do these steps or get right or go find out what is going on, we'll bring you on next season to like the summer league roster, or we'll bring you on, to the G League team or something, and then you can work your way up the ranks into the actual NBA roster. I don't think that would be a bad scenario for the Lakers to kind of look at and explore. He has the tools to be an excellent NBA player. I'm not saying he's going to be a star or anything like that. I don't think he's going to be the guy that he believes he is, right? He believes that, he's the greatest player ever, would smack LeBron, would smack, Shaq, all that stuff, right? Like, I don't think he's that, but I do think he could be a very serviceable talent. He's got great athleticism, great size. Like, he has the tools that you look for in a young prospect that could be a key piece for the Lakers going forward, and that's why I think he needs to go to a place like the Lakers, who have built and established a clear culture, right? With great just development coaches and great coaches and culture, period. Phil Handy, like, let Phil Handy work with him for a year and kind of get him right? Like, you have an owner in Jeannie Buss. You have a GM in Rob Pelinka. You have a head coach in Darvin Ham, who is, that dude has the gift of gab and is as good of a player coach as you get, right? And so he could go to a team like the Lakers and kind of have that structure built in. Another organization, of course, is, like I mentioned earlier, is Miami. Like, I think that those are probably the two places that I think would make a lot of sense for him, right? Because he could go be with the culture with Eric Spoelstra. They are known for kind of getting guys right. They have the track record, and with that, I think that he could fit in and be a more long-term piece for Miami, right? And Miami could use these kind of like long-term pieces because they're kind of in a tough spot for the future, right? They're kind of trying to figure out how to go all in right now. But if you can get, a nice piece here and there, you're never going to get, right? Like, Kai Jones is a free agent for a reason, right? But you're never going to, those diamonds in the roughs are usually diamonds in the roughs because of something. Whether it's a personal issue, whether it's just they're getting overlooked, whether it's just they've made a mistake at some point in their lives, and teams are hesitant to take a chance on them, whatever that may be. I want to see people have success. I want to see these young kids that have all the. This was a first round draft pick, number 19 pick. Like, he was and showed a lot of promise. He's only played 2 years in the league. Right, so he's a guy that I want and I'm rooting for. If he does have something wrong, then I hope that they're able to correct that and fix it. And that's why I want him to go to an organization that would be willing to give him the resources and the tools to do so, and have the structure to help him and guide him through whatever he's going through, assuming that that's what that is. And if it is just an ego thing, if it is just that, go to an organization that can humble you a little bit. You know what I mean? Go to an organization that has the guys and has the aspired players that can kind of keep him in check, keep him in line, keep him in order, right? Or if it's just a environment thing and he just needs to get out of there. There's not very many better places than Los Angeles with, the beaches and all that stuff and the weather and, and even like a place like Miami. Again, not many better places as far as those places go. So it just so happens that they have that structure, they have that culture, they have everything that you need to, besides the location, to help guide these players. And look, the Lakers can't have too many young guys because, if you hit on one or two of these guys, all of a sudden you're good for years to come. And I do think Kai Jones can be a good player. He just has to get right, whatever that is. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think the Lakers should give him a chance? Look to maybe bring him in? Do you think no? Stay as far away from Kai Jones as possible? Or do you like the idea of like kind of like, you know, putting a tap in on them and just saying like, hey, you know, do X, Y, and Z, and next season, if you're still available, we'll bring you in, right? We'll give you a shot, we'll give you an opportunity, but we need you to kind of, in the meantime, work on what you need to work on. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know.